And in China's Xinjiang province on Monday, dozens of civilians were killed or injured when a protest against government policies turned violent. And for more now on what happened this week in Xinjiang, we're joined via Skype by Alim Seytoff. Alim is a spokesman for the World Uyghur Congress. Thanks for joining us, Alim.
My pleasure.
While the attack happened on Monday, China suppressed reports of the incident until Tuesday. Why did the Chinese government delay reporting the story?
First of all, the Chinese security forces have killed and wounded up to 100 people, and probably the Chinese government wants to cover up what happened there. That's why the Chinese government delayed the reporting. And in most cases, actually, the Chinese government do not even report unless it's such a major event that it cannot cover up.
So what is causing this latest unrest?
What is causing the latest unrest is since May, the Chinese President Xi Jinping had initiated one-year-long so-called anti-terror campaign all over East Turkestan. And with the coming of the holy month of Ramadan a month ago, the Chinese government specifically singled out Uyghur people's religious beliefs and practices and the targeted fasting specifically, which is of course required as a Muslim. And as a result, there have been a lot of discontent within the Uyghur community. And we also learned that in early July, Chinese security forces had killed a family of 5 Uyghurs in the town of Bashkent near what happened in Yarkand. So the Uyghur people were fed up with Chinese security forces' extrajudicial use of lethal force and killing them, and also because of the singling out and targeting of Uyghur religious beliefs, especially during the holy month of Ramadan.
And speaking of Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan just ended, and Chinese authorities have imposed restrictions on Uyghur Muslims all month, like banning government employees and school children from fasting. Were the protests initially over freedom to express religious identity?
It's more than that, because it's not just the Uyghur religious identity that's being suppressed by the Chinese authorities. The Chinese government's human rights violations of the Uyghur people are all dimensional. It includes religious repression, political repression, and what we call cultural genocide, specifically targeting the Uyghur language, Uyghur culture, Uyghur identity, Uyghur traditions and values. Of course, religion has become one of the most prominent targets since the beginning of the Ramadan. That's why this time religious discontent is probably more prominent than any other.
There are conflicting reports of what happened in Xinjiang on Monday. Xinhua is reporting one thing and local Uyghur groups are reporting another. And authorities have blocked internet access in the region, making it even more difficult for journalists and human rights groups to keep tabs on what's happening in the region. It seems like China's efforts to suppress the Uyghur community are only leading to further unrest. Aren't these moves further pitting Uyghurs against the Han Chinese?
Yeah, the Chinese government's heavy-handed repression are not putting the Uyghurs against Han Chinese per se. It's really putting the Uyghurs against the Chinese government, because from the Uyghur point of view, they don't have any problems with the Han Chinese people. They also suffer under Chinese communist brutal rule, just like Tibetans and other groups. But the real problem is really the Chinese Communist Party rule. Their rule, of course, in East Turkestan is far heinous than any other part of China. But the Uyghur people do not see Han Chinese people as their enemies, but they see the government and their security forces that daily harass them, terrorize them, and use extrajudicial lethal force to attack them and kill them. They see them as a real enemy of the Uyghur people. So the more the Chinese government repress Uyghur people's legitimate rights and target their religious beliefs, practices, and their culture, their identity, and when the Uyghur people see an existential threat from Chinese government's repressive policies, of course, we will see increased violent reactions to such brutal government policies.
Okay. Well, Alim, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me.
Alim Seytoff is the spokesman for the World Uyghur Congress, a Germany-based NGO made up of exiled Uyghur groups who oppose the Chinese occupation of East Turkestan.
Now on U.S. airwaves, a global channel of uncompromising stories. World news, documentaries, entertainment, and culture. Link TV, connecting you to the world. For more information, visit linktv.org.